I'm Judy Shaw on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange along with Matt Kobach, and joining us today is Paul Rabil, founder, and Mike Rabil, CEO of the newly launched Premier Lacrosse League. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so tell me, why did you start the Premier Lacrosse League?
Yeah, so Mike and I, brothers, year and a half apart, grew up playing sports, and we're given our first lacrosse stick from our neighbor. It's backup equipment. We played rec sports growing up and rec lacrosse, and this game has captivated us for a long time. It's also captivated and continues to a growing participatory base in the U.S. and internationally. It's the fastest growing sport in North America. The high school level continues to be sanctioned. College level, agnostic to gender, continues to grow. And if you look at other case studies in major team sports, to unlock that exponential curve in growth, you have to have a viable, commercialized professional entity. And right now we have the best players in the world who are dynamic athletes and personalities. And we took on a task together as entrepreneurs to say, hey, with a sport like lacrosse, what would be the best model? So we created tour-based, based on a number of factors that I'm sure we'll address. And the biggest piece too was, okay, how is this going to be distributed? Because sports comes down to stuff like this, where you're talking to your audience.
Right.
And so we were able to land a major media rights deal with NBC Sports Group.
Wow.
The games are going to be on television and on NBC Gold. And when you talk about sports and how they're consumed, television is still the holy grail, because it validates your product. There's a sophisticated production element to it. Doesn't mean that digital isn't something that we love and embrace. I've built my entire network and business off of it up to this point. So those are some high-level points as to, I think, why we started this thing.
Yep. So, Mike, PLL, is that what you guys call it?
The Premier Lacrosse League.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
PLL for short.
Tell us what sets that apart from other sports.
Yes, yeah. Well, first and foremost, we have the best players in the world working with us. And this is a players' first league. And so what we wanted to do out of the gate was really go out and have conversations with these players and say, hey, why don't you do this with us? And so we stand for the players. And as proof of that, we're not only increasing the amount of money they're making at the current professional league when they start to play with us, but we're also giving them healthcare benefits and equity in the league. And we feel like they are the most important asset. We actually think that's a trend of where pro sports will be moving. You're already seeing that in endorsements with athletes taking equity. And so we think that's a really nice place for us to start out of the gate.
Equity, that sounds kind of unique to a sports league. What made you guys go that route?
So, for a lot of reasons. One, the value, though, I was talking about, just the best players in the world, that is the value in a sports league. And today, with their connection to their audiences, we have to be really thoughtful and mindful of that. Second thing is I come from Silicon Valley, and so when you build a business, you reward the people that are important, which are your coworkers, with ownership.
And
so
you're invested in them.
Yeah, and so they're just as much a part of this journey as we are, and so the players are as well. And so we wanted to take that value and apply it here.
So what's been the most rewarding part of this process for you in creating the league?
I would say interacting with my peers throughout. And when we talk about, to Mike's point around everyone being owners in this thing, one of our core values is to operate like an owner. But to be able to not only share and reap the benefits of greater wages, healthcare, but see things, what we're doing from the business side of partnerships with NBC and beyond. But the reward comes from the conversations every day, where guys are excited about our progress, and then where guys give us feedback and say, hey, here's where we're thinking about team branding, or let's take an exercise around team formation, or let's talk through the rules of the game and how it may be easily digested for a non-lacrosse fan. That's the most rewarding thing for me.
Yep.
All right, so I'm curious. You guys have a Silicon Valley background. You got the players. You got other sports leagues. Who did you actually reach out to for advice, or was it a little bit everyone?
Yeah, so, the biggest, I think one of the biggest parts about building this was finding the right partners to do it with. Paul mentioned NBC, obviously, the players, our team, our employees, but also our investors. And so we went out and spoke to the best-in-class sports and media investors. And so we went out to Rain Group, which is our biggest investor, CAA, Chernin, Blum Capital. So we really wanted to find and create a board and a board of advisors that is able to help us see around the corner, cover our blind spots. And that's what we've been able to do with those investors and that board of advisors.
So I'm sure a lot has gone into, coming to this point, getting to this point. How does it feel? I mean, yesterday it was announced. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think we feel pretty good.
Yeah,
it's exciting. We know that our players are equally excited. We've had to continue to build this thing in stealth for a while, and now that we're public, it allows us to exhale. I think our partners are really excited. We're going over and sitting down with NBC on production this afternoon, and I think ultimately now we realize how much is still left to accomplish and what's in front of us, but to be able to make an announcement and get the kind of reciprocity from folks like yourselves is especially exciting.
So when does the season start, right?
Yeah, it starts June and it'll go all the way through into September.
Yeah.
Okay.
So June 2019, first weekend through the middle of September. The schedule is exciting for us because for a long time, professional lacrosse has overlapped with the college lacrosse season and the indoor lacrosse league. So we've been able to, among a number of things, by having a tour-based model, alter the schedule to start later. So there will be no overlap, meaning the college seniors, they graduate, they get drafted, and they play in game one.
Yep.
So one last question for you guys. You guys sound like you're doing things differently than most traditional sports leagues. If you guys ever go public, you do it here, you ring that bell right there. Deal?
Deal.
Deal. Love it. So,
In unison.
cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. Congratulations.
Thank
We'll
you.
be watching come June
Sure.
2019.